Hey guys, welcome back. It's Deb from Bowl Me Over. Come on into the kitchen. Who's hungry today? I have a good recipe for you. This is one that's been so popular on the blog for years. It's Lazy Day ravioli. It's made in the crock pot. Does life get any better than that? Let me show you what you're gonna need because it's just simple ingredients and I actually even added one. So what we're gonna need for today. Normally I use frozen ravioli, but the store didn't have it. So if anything, with the pandemic, we've learned to substitute, right? So I'm just using a fresh ravioli and some pasta sauce, some ground beef, mozzarella cheese, and an onion. Because the ravioli that I grabbed has spinach in it, I thought it'd be nice to add a little spinach, fresh spinach into the recipe. So that's where that came from. It's all we're gonna need for this recipe. Now, let me just move things out of the way real quick and we'll get started. Okay, I'm gonna start by turning my burner on about a medium heat and letting that warm up a bit. And while that's working, let's get the hamburger in the, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna brown the ground beef and then we're gonna add the diced onion and spinach to it. So let me just get this in our pan. Perfect. And you know me, I just sears a lot faster if you take a minute and press it into the pan. And I don't like using my hands, so I'm gonna do this instead. And just press it in or break it up. You know, you can also use a potato masher and break it up too. But this just seems to get that good sear on the ground beef. And I always think that, you know, always try to remember brown food tastes good. So we want that sear. We want that good, strong sear on that. So while that's going, I'm going to work on my onion. And just your regular old onion. We're going to slice off the tip. We're going to go right down through the root. And I don't know if I've ever said that, but we keep that root intact. It just makes it really easy to peel and stuff. And it makes it easy to slice as we go. All right, there's one. And two. And we want to dice the onion fairly well. It's gonna cook and soften in the ground beef. But I also just had my knives sharpened recently, so they are super sharp. So we're just gonna slice as we go. And then one slice right down the middle. And just dice the onions. This is what you make when you want lasagna for dinner, but you don't want to go through all the work. So, love that. Run my knife through it to make sure I got nice small pieces. If you have someone that is adverse to onions, you could certainly use like onion powder. I just like that little bit of fresh in here. And then with the spinach, you know, this isn't in my original recipe, but I just know that a nice little handful of spinach in this is going to be bright and fresh. And all I want to do here is just simply run my knife through the spinach and chop up some of the big leaves. This is going to wilt almost immediately when we put it in with the ground beef, so really that's all we need to do. It's going to take just a minute until our ground beef is well cooked. So we're gonna let that do its thing for a minute, and then I'm gonna flip them over, break it up. I want all of the pink to be out of the ground beef before we add the onions and the spinach. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so the ground beef is looking pretty good here. So I'm just gonna flip it over, brown that second side. Oh, that's what we're looking for. See that nice sear we got there? That looks wonderful. Okay, we're gonna sear it on side two. And I'm just gonna break this up now, because I think at this point, we're looking pretty good. I always think, you know, you don't wanna steam the ground beef. And that's what you get when you get that, you know, over a nice medium heat, medium to medium high, either one works. But it just makes for a nice sear, and with that sear comes that flavor. All right. I used a 93.7 as far as a mix for the ground beef. I prefer that because it's not greasy at all. And that tiny bit of fat in there, that 7%, adds a nice amount of flavor. But I know there's an affordability factor, so you know, you can certainly use an 80-20. Just make sure you drain it to get some of that grease out of there. Okay, I'm gonna cook that for a few minutes, probably about 2 or 3, until it's no longer pink. And I'll be back for the next step. We're looking good over here. There's just a couple pieces of pink left. And I know that's gonna be enough, because the pink is gonna cook out of the meat and allow us to get our onions in and softened, because that's what we want to make sure we do. So I'm just going to put them in, give it a little stir. The onions will take about 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes to completely soften. And you know, you don't want them without any texture. So we'll probably do it about 3 minutes, because they're going to finish cooking here in the crock pot. That 3 minutes though, that's going to give the onion time to be flavored by the ground beef, and the ground beef by the onions. And that will be just a tasty option. Because this meal is so simple, because the ingredients are so basic, that few extra minutes that we're giving it here is going to add a lot of flavor to your dish in the end. So we're going to continue another couple minutes, and we'll be set for the next step. And now we're just going to throw that spinach in. And you can, like I had mentioned, you can totally skip the spinach. It's not included in the ingredients. I just thought it was nice, since the ravioli that I have includes spinach. All right, so I'm just going to turn this off now. The spinach will wilt into the burger, the ground beef, all by itself. And plus it's going to cook in the crock pot. So that'll take just a minute. All right, that portion's done. Going to set that aside, and let's build our crock pot. Whoops. And taking that right with me. Thought I'd bring it over here though, because I think it'd be a little easier for you to see. So what do we start with? Pan. Why do we start with it? Because we're lazy and we don't want to spend all day cleaning it up. Okay, so in goes the pan. And to the bottom, we're using our canned sauce. Use your favorite canned sauce. There are better ones out there. There are ones that are less expensive. You do you. So use your canned sauce and pour in just enough to cover the bottom of your crock pot. So half cup, maybe a cup, maybe a little bit more. There we go. And from there, we want to add some of the spinach, or some of the ravioli. And we want to add half of the ravioli. And it doesn't seem like much when you're doing this, but trust me here. This is plenty for a meal for 4. You're like, 10 ounces, that's hardly enough, Deb. It will be by the time all this is done. Okay. So we have a layer of ravioli. To that, we're going to add a layer of the meat mixture. And I want you to add about half of that. I'm not kidding you, it already smells really good. So I know we're doing something right here. Okay. Kind of eyeball this. We want to add about 1/3 more of the sauce. So I'm going to use my spoon. And I'm just going to sprinkle that over the top. Perfect. And to that, we're going to top it with mozzarella cheese. I prefer using fresh because it's going to melt so much better. Look how pretty this is. I don't know how well you can see that, but that already looks magical in there. Wow. Okay. We're going to make another layer and just keep building this. I had someone ask one time, could I double the recipe? Sure. It's going to take more time, so kind of keep that in mind as you go. But yes, you could. If you double the recipe, double the ingredients, you know, like you probably want to build 3 layers as opposed to 2, but I found 2 works really well. So that's it for that. I'm going to use the rest of our ground beef mixture. And just make sure all that goodness goes in there. And spread it over the top of the raviolis. Oh, that smells good. We're going to top it with a third, or let's see, what do we got left? Oh, we're going to top it with the rest of our pasta sauce. Make sure it's good and saucy. And that looks amazing. I'm going to, you know, I always like to make sure I get all the good stuff. So just poured a little bit of water in my jar. Give it a good shake and pour that in. And that just makes sure all the good stuff that's kind of stuck to the edges gets in there. We're going to finish with cheese. My recipe calls for frozen ravioli. Frozen ravioli takes 2.5 to 3 hours. This is fresh ravioli. I'm thinking this is going to take about an hour and 15 minutes, maybe an hour and a half. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'll let you know where we end up with this. But putting the lid on, setting it to low, and we'll see in a bit. Hey guys, welcome back. Oh my gosh, does this smell good? So the fresh pasta took about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 45 minutes. But it's nice and tender, so I'm excited to dig in here and see how this looks. So I'm trying to get like a piece of ravioli and some of this amazing meat topping here. So, and cheese, it's loaded. Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, yum. There's a cheesy stretch. And when you look at this, when you're looking into this, oh gosh, you know, there's certainly plenty for 4. Serve a big salad and garlic bread with this. I think you could stretch it to 6. So, and I like the addition of the spinach in here with the pasta. I just think it adds a little bit. Big fan of spinach anyway, but you know, that's totally up to you. You could also add like mushrooms. Sauteed mushrooms would be super good. I'm trying to make this ladylike, but I'm not sure that I can. So let's find out. That's delicious. That is really good. It's meaty and cheesy. The sauce is tangy. If you're a super saucy person, you could always throw in an extra half a jar of sauce. I think that would be delicious. But gosh, just look at that. Doesn't that look perfect? Delicious. You know, the onions in it too give it just that little fresh bite. You know, it's good if I'm going back in for seconds. I think you're really going to like this. Oh my gosh, it's been forever since I've made it on the blog. But this is a yummy meal and easy to make. Pop it in the, you know, in the slow cooker and it's done. But definitely want to give this one a try. So the information is below. You'll see the ingredients, the ingredients, the instructions, all the good stuff. Take a moment, check it out. If you have any questions, write a note below or head over to the blog. There's a FAQ section there on the blog. There's links for all of that. I'll also put some links of a couple of products, you know, like that I use, a slow cooker, all those kind of things. If you have any questions though, don't hesitate to reach out. Pop me an email, drop a note below. I answer everything myself, and I really appreciate you watching and taking the time. So until next time, it's Deb from Boldly Over. We'll see you soon.